The baby elephant wouldn't stop lifting his leg. At first, the zoo staff thought it was cute. Then they thought it was strange. By the third day, they knew something was deeply wrong. This is the story of how one young elephant saved over 200 people from a disaster that nobody saw coming. And it all started with a simple movement that looked like nothing more than a clumsy animal trying to figure out how to walk. Before we dive into what happened at Riverside Wildlife Park in Northern California, hit that like button and drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. We read every single one. It's early September. The weather is perfect. Families are lining up at the gates, kids are pointing at the animal maps, and inside the elephant habitat, a 2-year-old African elephant named Bobo is acting weird. Bobo isn't eating. He isn't playing with the other elephants. He isn't splashing in the water pool like he usually does every morning. Instead, he's standing completely still near the back corner of the enclosure, right next to the tall concrete barrier that separates the elephant yard from the public walkway below. And he keeps lifting his right front leg. Not like he's injured. Not like he's trying to scratch something. He lifts it slow and careful, holds it in the air for a few seconds, then gently places it back down. Then he does it again. And again. Over and over. A group of tourists starts filming. They think it's adorable. One woman says he looks like he's waving. A kid yells that the elephant is doing a trick. The video gets posted online with the caption, "Baby elephant learns to dance." But inside the staff building, a man named Carl is watching the security camera feed. And Carl isn't smiling. Carl has worked with elephants for 17 years. He grew up in Zimbabwe. He spent his childhood watching wild herds move through the savannah. He knows elephants better than most people know their own pets. And he knows that what Bobo is doing isn't normal. Carl grabs his walkie-talkie. He calls his assistant, a young keeper named Jenna who's been working at the park for 8 months. "Jenna, go check on Bobo. Something's not right." Jenna walks down to the habitat. She sees Bobo standing in the same spot, doing the same motion. Lift, hold, lower. Lift, hold, lower. She tries calling his name. Bobo doesn't react. She tosses a piece of watermelon near him. Bobo doesn't even look at it. "Carl, he's just standing there," Jenna says into her radio. "He won't move." "Should I go in?" "No. Stay outside the fence. Just watch him." Carl arrives 5 minutes later. He climbs up onto the observation platform to get a better view. That's when he notices something that makes his stomach drop. Bobo isn't just lifting his leg randomly. He's lifting it over the exact same spot every single time. A patch of ground about 3 feet wide, right next to the base of the concrete wall. Carl's mind starts racing. Is there something buried there? Did Bobo step on something sharp? Is he trying to tell them something? Then Carl sees it. The other elephants, 3 full-grown adults, are standing far away from Bobo. They're not coming near him. They're not trying to join him. It's like they're avoiding that entire section of the yard. That's when Carl knows. This isn't a game. This isn't a trick. Bobo is trying to warn them. Carl needs to figure out what Bobo is sensing. He tells Jenna to keep watching while he goes to check the maintenance records. Inside the office, Carl pulls up the files on his computer. He's looking for anything related to that section of the habitat. Construction reports. Inspection logs. Plumbing diagrams. Anything that might explain why Bobo is fixated on that one spot. He finds something from 6 years ago. A note about underground drainage pipes that run beneath the elephant yard. The pipes carry rainwater away from the enclosure and down toward the storm drains near the visitor pathway. But there's a problem. The note says the pipes were old even back then. The inspector recommended replacing them within 5 years. That was 6 years ago. Nobody ever replaced them. Carl feels his chest tighten. Northern California just had 3 weeks of unusual late summer storms. Heavy rain. flooding in some areas. The ground has been soaked for days. He runs back outside. By now, a small crowd has gathered near the viewing rails below the elephant habitat. They're all watching Bobo. Some are laughing. Some are taking selfies with the elephant in the background. Carl climbs back onto the platform. He watches Bobo closely. The elephant is still doing the same motion, but now Carl notices something else. Bobo's ears are pulled back. His trunk is swaying side to side. These are signs of stress. This isn't a happy elephant. This is a scared elephant. Jenna, we need to move him, Carl says. Move him where? Away from that wall. Get him into the barn. Jenna grabs a bucket of apples and heads toward the gate. Bobo loves apples. Usually, the sound of the bucket is enough to make him come running. But today, when Jenna shakes the bucket and calls his name, Bobo doesn't move. She steps inside the enclosure. She walks slowly toward him, holding out an apple. Come on, Bobo. Look what I have. Bobo turns his head and looks at her. But he doesn't come closer. Instead, he lifts his leg again and places it down on the same spot. Then he makes a sound. A low rumble that Jenna feels in her chest more than hears with her ears. Carl recognizes that sound immediately. It's a warning call. Elephants use it to alert the herd when something dangerous is near. Jenna, stop. Don't go any closer. Jenna freezes. What's wrong? Just back up slowly. Don't make any sudden moves. Jenna does what Carl says. She backs away toward the gate, keeping her eyes on Bobo the whole time. The elephant watches her leave, then goes back to his ritual. Lift, hold, lower. Carl pulls out his phone. He calls the park director. We have a situation. I think there's a structural problem in the elephant habitat. We need to get an engineer out here right now. The director doesn't take it seriously at first. Carl, are you sure? We just had an inspection last year. I'm sure. Something is wrong with the ground under that wall. Bobo can sense it. There's a long pause on the other end. I'll make the call. The engineer arrives 2 hours later. His name is Marcus. He's holding a tablet and wearing a hard hat. He doesn't look convinced that this is an emergency. So you're telling me an elephant thinks there's a problem with the foundation? Marcus says, raising an eyebrow. I'm telling you that elephant is detecting something we can't see, Carl replies. And I've learned to trust them. Marcus sighs and walks over to the observation platform. He looks down at Bobo, who is still standing in the same position, still lifting his leg over the same patch of ground. All right, let me take some measurements. Marcus pulls out a ground-penetrating radar device. It's a tool that can scan beneath the surface and create a picture of what's underground. He sets it up near the fence line, as close to Bobo's spot as he can get without entering the enclosure. He runs the scanner across the area. At first, everything looks normal on the screen. Soil. Rock. The drainage pipe running underneath. But then Marcus stops. He runs the scanner over the same section again. His expression changes. That's not right, he mutters. What is it? Carl asks. Marcus zooms in on the screen. There's a void. A gap in the soil. It's like the ground underneath has been washed away. Carl's heart starts pounding. How big? Big enough to be a problem. The pipe must have cracked. Water's been flowing through and eroding the soil. There's basically a hollow space under that entire section. What happens if it collapses? Marcus looks at the concrete wall towering above them. The wall that holds up the elephant habitat. The wall that sits directly over the hollow space. The wall that has hundreds of people standing below it right now. If that collapses, the wall goes with it. And anyone standing down there. He doesn't finish the sentence. He doesn't need to. Carl grabs his radio. This is Carl. We need to evaluate the south viewing area immediately. No questions. Do it now. The security team responds within seconds. They start blowing whistles and waving people away from the elephant exhibit. Tourists start complaining. They don't understand why they're being moved. Some refuse to leave. They paid good money to see the elephants. One security guard has to physically block the pathway. For your safety, you need to move to the north side of the park. Now. Parents grab their kids. Couples pack up their bags. Slowly, the crowd starts moving away from the wall. But it's taking too long. There are too many people. Carl looks up at Bobo. The elephant is still standing there. Still lifting his leg. Still warning them. Come on, buddy, Carl whispers. Give us a little more time. Then Bobo does something that makes Carl's blood run cold. The elephant stops lifting his leg. Instead, he turns around and starts running toward the barn as fast as he can. When an elephant runs, it means something is about to happen. And it's not going to be good. Carl doesn't hesitate. He grabs the megaphone from the security station and starts yelling at the crowd below. Everyone move back now. This is not a drill. Get away from the wall. The tone in his voice makes people stop arguing. They start running. Jenna is helping guide people toward the exits when she hears it. A sound like a deep groan coming from underground. It's low and rumbling, like the earth itself is shifting. Marcus hears it too. His face goes pale. We need to clear this area right now. That ground is about to give. The security team starts pushing people faster. Families are running. Someone drops their backpack. A kid starts crying. But nobody stops to pick anything up. They just keep moving. Carl is still on the platform, watching the spot where Bobo was standing. He can see cracks forming in the dirt. Small ones at first. Then bigger. The ground is starting to split apart. Carl, get down from there, Jenna shouts. But Carl can't move. He's frozen, watching the disaster unfold in slow motion. The cracks spread wider. The soil begins to sink. And then, with a sound like thunder, the ground collapses. It happens fast. 1 second, there's solid earth. The next second, there's a massive hole. The drainage pipe is completely exposed now, broken in half, water pouring out like a river. The soil around it crumbles and falls into the void below. But the worst part isn't the hole. The worst part is what happens next. The concrete wall that holds up the elephant habitat loses its foundation. Without soil to support it, the base of the wall starts to crack. The cracks shoot upward like lightning. The entire structure groans under its own weight. Then the wall buckles. Tons of concrete and metal railings start to lean outward. The viewing platform where people were standing just minutes ago begins to tilt. The benches slide toward the edge. A trash can rolls off and crashes into the hole below. Carl finally snaps out of it. He jumps off the observation platform and runs toward the barn. Behind him, he can hear the terrible sound of the wall breaking apart. The middle section collapses completely. Concrete slabs the size of cars tumble down into the sinkhole. Dust explodes into the air, mixing with the mist from the broken water pipe. The noise is deafening. When the dust finally settles, Carl turns around to look at the damage. The entire south side of the elephant habitat is gone. There's just a giant crater where the viewing area used to be. Twisted metal. Broken concrete. Water flooding everywhere. But the area is empty. Not a single person is in the collapse zone. Because of Bobo, everyone got out in time. Carl leans against the barn wall, trying to catch his breath. His hands are shaking. Inside the barn, Bobo is standing calmly with the other elephants, eating hay like nothing happened. The park stays closed for 2 months while crews repair the damage. Engineers confirm what Marcus suspected. The old drainage pipe had been leaking for weeks. The rain made it worse. The ground underneath turned into a giant empty pocket just waiting to collapse. If Bobo hadn't warned them, if Carl hadn't trusted what the elephant was trying to say, over 200 people would have been standing directly in the collapse zone when it happened. The casualties would have been massive. The story makes national news. Scientists from 3 different universities come to study Bobo. They want to understand how he knew. The answer is simple but incredible. Elephants can feel vibrations through their feet that humans can't detect. Bobo felt the hollow space under the ground. He felt the instability. He was trying to tell the humans that the earth beneath them was failing. Carl visits Bobo every single day during the closure. He brings him extra fruit. He sits with him for hours. He thanks him over and over, even though he knows Bobo doesn't understand the words. When the park finally reopens, there's a new sign at the entrance. It shows a picture of Bobo with the words, "The elephant who saved us." Families come from all over the country to see him. Kids wave at him. Parents tell their children the story of how Bobo knew something was wrong before any human did. Carl stands at the new viewing area, watching Bobo play in the water with the other elephants. The elephant looks happy now. Relaxed. Like the weight he was carrying is finally gone. A little boy tugs on Carl's shirt. Is that the hero elephant? Carl smiles. Yeah. That's him. Did he really save everyone? Carl nods. He did. Because he was paying attention when we weren't. The boy stares at Bobo in awe. And somewhere deep in his elephant mind, Bobo splashes in the water, knowing his herd is finally safe.